Alright, good afternoon everybody. It's about 4:15 on the 20th of June. Not going to have a whole lot of excitement going on tonight. I want to take a look at this area again. This is that patch that I did up here from the rusted out area around the master cylinders. I wasn't real crazy with that repair, so I'm just going to assess that and see if I don't want to cut that out and do it again. I hope not to do that. But otherwise, it's going to be mainly entailing cleaning up the inside once over with a red Scotch-Brite and then flipping the car up, and I'm going to get the bottom all sanded down. I've decided to do Raptor liner underneath just in black instead of trying to go with a tint job or anything like that. I'm just going to try to frankly make it a little easier on myself and just keep it straightforward. But I got to roughen up the epoxy underneath for doing that, or at least I think I do, and at least it'll be safe for adhesion. So that's the plan ahead. Alright, well that didn't take long to figure out. The more I played with it, the worse it got. Very wavy, just a lot of heat stress and everything in there. And I think from grinding it from such bad welds in the first place, I'm going to have to do a square repair in here. I want to leave this on the edges here because one, it's relatively flat and it's welded up pretty good, and I think it would take a lot, and I think that's pretty good metal. So my intention is to essentially cut out about a square in here and just get that taken care of, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I got that piece hacked out. You can see the bottom of the old one there, kind of not very clean, not very nice, very ripply. I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch that on camera or not. Oh, you can see it's bent, so might have done that taking it out. But so now I got a template cut out there and taped to this piece of metal. That'll be my, I'll just cut around it, and as the tape comes loose, I'll figure it out just to keep it tight on there. But that's cut around that, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, I got the piece fit. Two of those angle magnet thingamajiggies holding it on the bottom. It's not perfectly level because it's a little wavy in the firewall, so I'm going to tack it where it is level, which is right over here and right about in here, and then at that point be able to remove the magnets and kind of flex the repair patch to meet the firewall. The other thing I'm not going to do this time is go fast with the welding and overheat and buckle it like I did the last time. That's what's causing me to do this rework now. Should be set enough. So now I'll just take my time, go around, stitch it up, keeping it cool. Try not to mess this one up. You can see in this corner here I kind of blew through a little bit. All this, I mean, you can see how pitted this is. So a lot of that metal's not in great shape. But it is what it is, I guess. Alright, well, that's what some patience gets you. A nice, flat, clean weld. So I obviously need to clean it up. I wanted to point this out right here. You can see that little notch and this is the clutch pedal. So just over all of the years, obviously it's not in here, but if the pedal it was in here itself, the little actuator or whatever you want to call it that bolts into the master cylinder would be sticking up through here a little bit, and just it's only, well, it's about exactly as wide as that notch is, and just over the years, as you would let go of the clutch and it would spring back, it would just dent. So the metal is still there underneath. I'm going to try to bend it over a little bit with that punch. I don't know how successful I might be with that, but if nothing else, I'm just going to fill them with some weld metal. Alright, you can see the weld metal build up on there. Hopefully I'll zoom it in a little bit more. Let's see, about the extent of the zoom on the camera, which is actually, that's pretty good. Anyway, so I'm going to now clean this whole area up. Alright, well, as far as gross grinding goes, that's all I'm going to do for now. Big old dip right there. A couple reasons for that. One, I think that's pretty good. And two, I don't want, or I'm going to skim coat this anyway with a bunch of filler, just to fill in all these little dots and everything. And I think I missed a spot with the weld. Yeah, a couple of them over here. Several, actually. Grease pencil. So I'm happy with that. It's not as spongy. Of course, all that weld metal in there will tend to strengthen that up, make it a little bit more hard. But yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get this big old divot out, but I'm not going to concern myself too much. Got this guy filled, and it's 6 o'clock. Ellen, guess what time it is? One more thing I'm going to do a little time on tonight. Got a lot of good comments. AS28G. Jonathan, JG, John, Lighten48 gave me some good pointers on trying to get this dent out of this back rear valance or the sail panel, and so I'm just going to kind of use the hammer a little bit, try and get in here and smack back, because I think there's where that crease is. So I think if I try to flatten this about 45-degree angle plate out, that'll keep that whole thing, we'll kind of slide that whole thing back. At least that's what most of the comments said. So I'll give it a try. I'm not going to work on it too long, because I want to get to as much as I don't really want to get to, but I'm going to get to some sanding and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. Well, it ain't perfect, but I'll tell you what, that's pretty close. I got a light behind there. You can kind of sort of see it, and it's not really showing any sunlight through. There is, though, some. There you can kind of see it there. But definitely a lot better than it was. So I'm going to leave it at that right now, and may leave it at that for good. So now I'm going to roll the car on the side towards me over here, passenger side low. Get on the inside, start taking the red Scotch-Brite to the inside. A lot of the sail plates and under the dash, I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to them. Last time I was here, I kind of forgot, so I'll get those up, and then I'll just go around to the other side, leave the car the way it is, go around to the other side, and start working on the underneath to hit that with 180 grit. So we'll continue on. Guess Mr. Spider decided to make my legs of my Tyvek suit a little nest. Got a little leg sack there and everything. Poor guy. Alright, so you can kind of see underneath the rear sail plate here, all the grime and nastiness that I'm playing with. All the screw holes, the self-tapping screws for the snaps were never sanded down. Not that I would necessarily expect them to be. Big cut in my fingers, so that's not cool, so I'll take the edges down on those. But a lot of nooks and crannies in here, and this has taken me a while. The rest of the stuff that's flat and everything's not too bad. So I'm sure that this, underneath this sail plate here, and the front one dash is going to be painful. Little bit before 8 o'clock, calling it a night. I did not get to any of the sanding on the underneath. Spent a lot of time, all the rest of the time, inside the interior. I did get the rear sail plate, which was in pretty yucky shape. Down here was all full of rust and everything like that, and on either side of the supports was rust. But here that actually cleaned up pretty nice with some water and grease remover, or wax and grease remover. But with the exception of hitting the entire area with that wax and grease remover, at least everything saw a red Scotch-Brite and or 100 grit sandpaper. So hopefully it'll be good. My concerns here are that I'm going to have to paint the inside of the car in stages, just because there's so many surfaces and so many different directions to get full coverage. I'm going to have to flip the car and roll it a couple times, and I don't know, so I'm going to be definitely doing some dry runs on that. Inside a booth, maybe using the dollies to help me turn the car, because I can't flip it both directions in the space that I have here, so it can get it's going to get a little interesting. But other than that, happy with the accomplishment for this evening. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get over here this weekend, so there's going to be some delays before I get rolling again big time. But anyway, I'll get over here when I can, and happy the way this front valance came out tonight, or the firewall, whatever you want to call that there. I undid my rushed mistakes there, so hopefully that'll clean up real well. So that's it for tonight. Hopefully you have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you when I can. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and that's it. Have a good night. Cheers.